Video games. People my age, young and old, love them. People enjoy them for what they are worth, and whenever there's always an adaptation of things, 9 times out of 10 they've always been bad. At least that used to be the case back in the 90s and 2000s and even 2010s. But now we're living in a golden era where video game adaptations are actually starting to, I don't know, care about the source material and what not only fans like about it, but show newcomers why this is popular, and that's great. Hopefully, we don't ever have to go back to those days of awful adaptations. At least you hope.
What's happening right now?
I'm expelling the excess lead. I can't go if you're looking at me. Ooh, actually, scrap that. I can. I really can. Actually, it's helping.
Are we really waiting for this to finish?
Keep looking at me.
Borderlands is directed by Eli Roth with a screenplay by Eli Roth and Joe Crombie, which, side note, before this movie entered development, Craig Mason wrote a script for this movie. This is the guy that brought you Chernobyl and the first and upcoming second season of The Last of Us. Cannot wait. Love not only the game, but the show itself is a great adaptation. If for nothing else, this guy understands what it means to translate video game to live action. And so he wrote a script for Borderlands back in the day. And people were bidding for this, studios were, and Lionsgate got their hands on it. They brought in Eli Roth, and then, one thing led to another. Eli Roth changing too many things, production delays, and messes behind the scenes, and then Craig Mason just decided to take his name off the project, and it has now been replaced by Joe Crombie. And a story by Eli Roth. The film stars Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Edgar Ramírez, Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Munteanu, Gina Gershon, and Jamie Lee Curtis. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, an infamous bounty hunter returns to her childhood home, the chaotic planet Pandora, and forms an unlikely alliance with a team of misfits to find the missing daughter of the most powerful man in the universe. Like I said at the beginning of this video game adaptations have struggled for a very long time. Ever since Super Mario Brothers the movie, okay? That was where video game adaptations have shown time and time again that they are terrible, they are awful. Usually whenever there was an announcement, there was an adaptation, people would say, oh god. As of recently, though, video game properties have found recent success with some IPs out there like Sonic, Arcane, Castlevania, The Last of Us, and Fallout. 3 of these shows, Arcane, The Last of Us, and Fallout, earning critical acclaim from critics, which meant critics were lauding these as some of the best video game adaptations out there, like hands down, which is impressive. You would never have heard that many years ago, but now in 2024, we are hearing that. And it's amazing to hear things like that. Though, there are a few slip-ups, like the Uncharted movie, which still hurts me to this day. It's almost like bullets still left in my heart there from that movie. And Halo, which I think is okay, but even then, fans, and even I won't deny, is not that great of an adaptation at all. Video games are still going strong with regards to how they are presented, whether in movies or TV shows. Then we have Borderlands, which, and I say this, would have lend itself to being a good adaptation for something. I have played the Borderlands games. I'm not like an aficionado when it comes to the lore and everything. I know some things here and there from some friends and some internet stuff, and I've even played Tales from the Borderlands, which is a good one from Telltale. Definitely worth a playthrough. So I have played, at the very least, a good amount of Borderlands to know a bit where I know what the world is and a little bit of what the story is supposed to be. But unfortunately, this film falls apart in every single way. I cannot describe to you how bad this is. A piss-poor attempt at an adaptation of one of 2K's most popular IPs. Seriously. There is only one positive that I can say with this movie. Literally only one. You may be surprised on what this could be, or people could roll their eyes at it. Please, just take this into consideration with what we're about to deal with here. The only positive I can say, the costume designs are good. I can't deny that. I can't lie about that myself. Pretty much most of the costumes look faithful to what the games are. At the very least, like Lilith's outfit that Cate Blanchett wears, or Tannis, or even some of the psychos, which are the icons of the games, the ones with the crazy masks and everything, and the Atlas soldiers, everything is there, okay? The costume design is on point, it is very much similar to what the games are. I'm not going to deny that. For me, at least that's the only thing they got right. Because otherwise, like I said, this is such a piss poor attempt at an adaptation that will leave fans just pissed, absolutely thinking that this is horrible in every conceivable way. It is just downright bad. So here are the negatives. The performances are flat. From Oscar winners like Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis to Kevin Hart and Jack Black, some of the best and funniest comedians out there, it all feels bland. Their performances all feel like they are just bored or they have no idea what they're doing. They feel lost and confused throughout this entire film that they are thinking they are wanting to make, but at the same time, I feel like some of them are there for paychecks and others are just thinking that this would be cool when they should have looked and said to themselves, you know what, I shouldn't do this. Although I'll give credit, Ariana Greenblatt wasn't too bad as Tiny Tina. I mean, I give her credit, she's the only one that actually looks like she's having fun on set. I mean, she was young when this was filmed, and this is coming out in 2024. She was, I think, like probably in her teens. She's now an adult. At the very least, she had fun on set. The direction is a mess. Director Eli Roth and Tim Miller. And the reason why I bring Tim Miller up is because he was brought in for reshoots while Roth was working on Thanksgiving last year. That Thanksgiving movie that he did, he couldn't commit to reshoots. So Tim Miller, who had done Deadpool and Terminator Dark Fate, was brought in at the last second to do quick reshoots. And as much as I don't want to blame him because he was brought in at a very late addition into the game with regards to those reshoots, at the same time, I cannot deny directed a film that is inconsistent and is all over the place from start to finish, making this feel like two different directors' visions. I couldn't tell you some of this either being Eli Roth or Tim Miller's. I don't know. Like, the beginning is definitely a reshoot, but otherwise, I couldn't tell you what is considered a reshoot or just the film, because it just all feels like a Frankenstein put together movie at the last second that is clearly obviously shown throughout this entire film. The action is boring. Every action scene doesn't feel exciting or intense, as it feels generic all around. There is nothing exciting when the action happens. It all just feels like a bunch of people are just shooting and just ducking behind cover in the most generic and pointless way, that it just makes you kind of feel like, man, this is the best that they can give you to fans with regards to action set pieces. It's all running and gunning. That is it. That is the best way to describe the action in this movie. It's just all running and gunning, and there's nothing else. The writing is awful. Writers Eli Roth and whoever the hell Joe Crombie is, I want to assume it's Craig Mazin, but really, I don't buy that. I thought I would, although I would say it is kind of telling because he did lead the project and it was Joe Crombie, but honestly, as of right now, I honestly would say I don't think it was Craig Mazin, because after seeing The Last of Us, I would want to assume he has done better with regards to video game adaptations, probably going forward, than Eli Roth is doing right now, because crafts a script that's both equally cringe and bad, a script that should have been just thrown in the trash bin. This is a bargaining bin script. This is bare bones. This is just absolute garbage from start to finish on how characters talk and how they have conversations with one another, how the jokes land. None of it works. And I know some people will say, oh, well, that's on point with the games because the jokes are just cringy and bad. And I have a brother who says that. But I'm telling you this, is that as much as Borderlands has a humor that is different, of course, to people, some of it works, some of it doesn't. But at the same time, it sticks to it. Here, it tries so hard to have it both ways of being Marvel and trying to be edgy, but it doesn't even succeed in that, because with this being PG-13, they can't get away with doing what Borderlands is. Borderlands is an M-rated franchise, and you water it down to a PG-13, and so you have cringy jokes that do kind of feel like Marvel had made, but threw them away knowing that they're not great or not amazing. The production is sloppy. Though people, I will say, there are people who worked on this movie that tried. I am not going to deny that. I am not trying to downplay anybody's talents, alright? Because I bet you the production crew and everything, they did the best they could. But the way this film was put together, like I said, it feels like Frankenstein's monster. Everything just feels chaotic and misplaced. This was a hectic production. The fact that this was in development hell for a long time and now is coming out, it clearly shows there was a lot of behind the scenes problems with regards to the reshoots, as well as probably studio interference. And it is very telling on how much. The people that were working on this movie for the production suffered because of it, because the production of all this just looks like a mess. The music is bad. Composer Steve Jablinski creates a score that's forgettable. Also, licensed music feels random and misplaced as well. Steve Jablinski is somebody who has worked on video game scores and movies. So he knows his stuff. He's worked with some of the best. He's worked with Hans Zimmer, right? So it's not to say that this guy should not be phoning in with regards to a score that can at least be compelling. You get nothing with this. This all feels generic. It all feels bland. It feels nothing exciting at all. It just feels dull throughout. And the licensed music, man, they are trying so hard to be like Guardians, because most of the music, the licensed ones, feel terrible. They don't feel natural. It all feels put in by corporate to think that that's what would work. And it doesn't. They don't get what it feels like to have that type of music to be put into this movie. The story is overcrowded as hell. Roth tries sandwiching so many elements from the games and having a generic story on top of that, but it has been done so much better in other films, like this story alone. And like I said, with that Guardians of the Galaxy, this movie is pretty much a knockoff version of that. There's nothing about this movie that screams like Borderlands. This all screams Guardian. I couldn't tell you how this feels like Borderlands. I played Borderlands. I played a good amount of Borderlands. This doesn't feel like Borderlands. This feels like Guardians. This feels like something that Marvel would do. Except Marvel would actually look at this and be like, you know what, we'll just scratch this and not even touch this. That's how bad this is. The story itself tries taking apart so many things from different elements of different games and thinking that that would work and combining into a story that just feels as generic as it is. The visuals look terrible. Anytime, which is pretty much all the time, the visual effects are badly rendered and are just fake all around. Nothing about it with regards to the monsters and the detailing and the background look remotely good at all. Also, it has very obvious green screen usage, like obvious, when they are standing behind with a green screen just right behind them. It's very telling. It's very easy. It's embarrassing. The editing is poor. Each scene feels poorly put together and barely stitched with gum and string. Scenes just don't feel natural in this film. They all kind of feel abruptly, or they kind of feel like they are just moving fast through things to just get through this entire film altogether. And it's just sad. It's sad indeed on how this movie turned out. Borderlands fans deserve better than this. Borderlands fans deserve better than what they were given. The fact that 2K and Gearbox thought that this was good is embarrassing for them. It really is. The fact that Randy Pitchford, which by the way, fans don't like Randy Pitchford anyway, the fact that he was trying to say, oh, give the movie a chance, and any sort of criticism towards that movie he would block or disregard their criticism, that's sad. And that just shows who Randy Pitchford is even more as a person, among other things. And honestly, you guys, it doesn't surprise me that this movie turned out bad, because also Avi Arad produced this, which shows that this was going to be bad from the get-go. This man produced Uncharted, and that hurt my feelings. Oh boy, I have not forgiven Mr. Arad for ruining my Uncharted movie. Hell no. As much as that was in production hell for a long time, the fact that he touched that just made that even worse. And for Borderlands fans, he made it worse for you. The fact that he's gonna touch Zelda, Nintendo fans, you better hope to God that Nintendo finds some way to get his ass away from this movie, like as far away. He can have his name on it, no matter what. Get his ass away from it. So I'm giving Borderlands a 1 out of 10. This is an embarrassment, laughable, of an adaptation of a popular franchise. It truly is. It's sad. And to Mr. Arad, stop touching properties. Just stop the bullshit. Just retire. I think at this point, everyone just wants you to retire. You've already pissed off Spider-Man fans for a long time. You pissed off Uncharted fans. Now you pissed off Borderlands fans. Who do you have left in your corner? Who? Who do you got left? Nintendo fans? You won't want to piss Nintendo fans off. Trust me. Have you seen how Mario Party works? You don't want to piss off Nintendo fans. Trust me. Or how copyright works with Nintendo, or any sort of thing that goes under them, you do not want to piss them off. So now I will give my review for the original 1994, The Crow movie, as well as the remake, and then August is done. So yes, look forward to those reviews and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.